All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about a personal story that's pretty amazing. It's all about how some really focused preparation can totally flip the script on childbirth, one of the most intense things you can go through, right? This is a really cool look at the power of mindset and, taking back control.
So let's really think about this question. How much can you actually prepare for something so huge? Most of us, I think, see birth as this thing that just happens to you. You just hold on and hope for the best. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could be a real active player in the whole thing? And what if that preparation could turn what might be a story of pain into one of, well, empowerment? That's exactly what we're going to dig into here.
Okay, so to get a sense of just how big a change we're talking about, just look at this. It really sets the scene. For her first birth, the goal was, well, it was basically just survival. Just get me through this. And the experience? It was exactly that. Screaming, feeling totally out of control. But then, look at the other side. For the second birth, the goal was completely different. Be present and in control. That one tiny shift in what she was aiming for, it changed absolutely everything.
So, you're probably wondering, how did she pull that off? How do you go from just get through it to in control? Well, it wasn't an accident. It all started way before labor even began, with the kind of prep that was totally different.
And we're not just talking about, packing a hospital bag or picking out a cute outfit for the baby. No, this was a whole strategy. It was a three-part plan. First, some serious mental prep. Second, building the right support system. And third, having a few simple physical tools ready to go.
So when we talk about mental prep, this is what it looked like. And what's so key here is that this was all active stuff. It wasn't just, putting on a playlist of positive birth stories and zoning out. No, this was daily meditation, actually visualizing how she wanted things to go, and practicing those breathing techniques over and over. And I love this part. She and her partner read books on it together. That got him totally on board, not just as a supporter, but as someone who really understood the why behind it all.
And this is genius. This is what we mean by building the right support system. She didn't just cross her fingers and hope her husband would say the right thing. No, she literally gave him a script. She handpicked affirmations that she knew would actually help her, things that would empower her when things got tough.
Because let's be real, the last thing you want when you're in the middle of labor is for someone to say something that makes you cringe, right? She knew what would work and what wouldn't. So by creating her own list, she guaranteed that the words she was hearing were going to be genuinely helpful. It turned her husband from just a guy standing in the corner into a really effective, comforting part of the team.
Okay, so the prep work is done. The mindset is set. The script is written. Now let's get to the main event. Let's see how all this preparation actually held up when labor started.
And it all starts out pretty calmly, actually. Her toddler goes to bed around 7:30, and that's when she starts feeling some mild, kind of irregular contractions. As the night goes on, they start to pick up. By midnight, she can't sleep through them anymore. And you can see the strategy here, right? She's resting as much as she can, laboring on her own until about 2 a.m. when things get intense enough that she wakes up her husband. Then the final piece of the support puzzle, her sister-in-law, shows up at 3 a.m. to watch their son.
And you've got to hear this, one of the best little details from the story. The secret weapon for getting through early labor? A simple ice pack. That's it. She said it was golden, an absolute chef's kiss. It was the perfect little physical thing to focus on, a distraction that helped her relax while the contractions were building. It just goes to show, you don't always need fancy gear, sometimes the simplest things work best.
All right, so she's labored at home for hours, her team is all there, and now it's go time. They're heading to the hospital. And this is it, right? This is the moment where all that mental and physical prep really gets put to the test. So they get to the hospital, and she's walking in, she's talking in between contractions. She looks so calm and in control that the nurse in triage is basically like, yeah, I'm not so sure about this. The nurse actually pulled her husband aside and whispered that they might have to send them home to walk around a bit, because clearly she couldn't be that far along. Or so they thought. And then, the moment of truth. The midwife comes in to check her, and she's not 3 centimeters, not 4, she's at 8 centimeters. 8. Everyone's jaws are on the floor. She was basically in the home stretch, about to have a baby. And that right there is the proof in the pudding. Her mental prep worked so well that her outward calm completely hid the fact that her body was doing some seriously intense work. I mean, just look at the difference here. It is literally night and day. First time around, curled up in a ball in bed, screaming. This time, she's strolling the hospital hallways, chatting between contractions, totally present, totally aware of what's happening. You can draw a straight line from all that preparation right to this outcome.
Now, to be clear, she said there was a point during the final pushing stage where she did kind of lose it mentally. She described it as feeling really primal, animalistic, and super intense. But here's the crazy part. What felt to her like this endless period of pushing was actually just 10 minutes, 10. It was fast, it was effective, her body totally knew what to do.
So this is way more than just a cool story, right? There are some really powerful lessons here. Let's wrap up by breaking down the big takeaways from this whole journey.
Okay, so what can we learn from this? First, mental prep is just as important as any physical prep. It's not optional. Second, don't just hope your support people know what to do. Tell them. Give them a script. Curate that team. Third, listen to your body's signals. And this last one is huge. The difference in care she got. Her midwife's approach was all about asking, "What do you want to do next?" which made her feel like part of the team. It wasn't someone just telling her what to do. That made her an active participant, not a passive one.
And really, that's the bottom line here. This amazing birth experience wasn't just good luck. It wasn't an accident. It happened because of a whole series of choices she made on purpose. She chose her midwife, she chose to drive an hour to a specific hospital just to have that midwife, and, most importantly, she chose the mindset she was going to have through it all.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, this is a story about having a baby, but the lesson here is so much bigger than that. It shows that no matter what the situation is, with the right kind of focused preparation, we have so much power to shape our own experiences. So it kind of makes you think, right? What part of your story could you rewrite with a little preparation?